Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. We've got a new segment that we're doing that's going to be focusing a lot on what's happening in the healthcare front because, let's face it, there's a lot happening in the healthcare front. I've got Matt Sutton, and he is as a manager with Aflac here in the Houston area, and he's going to be a regular contributor talking about what's happening when it comes to healthcare. And we have a guest, the first of our guests in our series, David Bristol, who's with a company called Employee Solutions out of the Dallas area, but I think you probably have a larger footprint than that. I'll let you explain your business and what it's all about, David, in just a moment. But first, I want to introduce Matt. Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself and also what you're doing here for folks with Aflac.
All right, thank you very much. Again, Matthew Sutton. I'm a regional sales coordinator here in the Houston area. I've been with Aflac for about 10 years now, and we try to kind of take a back-end approach at looking at a business plan of what businesses are trying to focus on as they try to balance out what's going to be happening with national health care. So we're kind of finding ourselves consulting them on different options like HSAs and HRAs and different options that they're trying to balance to keep the cost down, to help their employees, and basically just find solutions going into January 1st.
David Bristol, welcome to the program. And you're with a company called Employee Solutions. Like I said, you're out of Dallas. Are you mainly in the state of Texas, David?
We are primarily in the state of Texas. We've got offices throughout the Dallas Metroplex, Austin, and Houston.
Awesome. Kind of give us an overview of your business model.
We are a staffing company, so we put people out on a temporary to full-time basis, basically the probationary hire period where they end up going full-time with our client companies. So if you're you're looking for a job, we get you out to a facility where hopefully you do a good job and the company wants to take you on to their full-time payroll.
Awesome. So how many employees do you have altogether under your organization, both for your primary company and employees that you have working for your clients?
Well, it depends every day, but we have approximately 2,500 employees throughout the state of Texas on average.
Okay. And then your company itself has, I think you said 75, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, very good. All right, your first question, Matt, for our guest, David.
The first question?
Yeah, your question for David, yes.
What are some of the things that you guys are finding as challenges going into some of the changes that are happening with national health care? What kind of changes are you guys putting in place so far?
Well, Matt, it starts off with the first problem or first issue we have is the uncertainty surrounding it here in Texas. As I mentioned, we're a Texas-based staffing company, and the federal model shows that we're going to set up the healthcare exchanges. And obviously, everybody knows that Texas did not set up their own healthcare exchange, so the federal government is doing that. So the biggest issue we've got is the uncertainty surrounding what is actually going to occur. So as we move forward to figure out the best answer for our employees, we don't know all the rules. So that's our biggest problem that we're facing right now.
Yeah, and I'm not sure any of the members of Congress who passed it know any of the rules, and so let alone the president. And, and the reality is to what I can tell is that it's very dynamic. That rules are being written even as you and I speak.
Correct. The rules are coming out. In fact, I think at the end of April they promulgated some of the more recent rules, but there's still more to come. So when we can't make plans as businesses until we know what the rules are.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt?
Yeah, that's one of the same things that we're kind of battling. It seems like every question that comes up, we kind of have to dive back into our resources to figure out what the exact answer is to make sure we provide the proper guidance on what the best solutions are going to be. So I completely agree with him on that one.
Yeah. So do you have another question yet for David? Or because I have one for him if you don't.
Oh, you go ahead.
All right. So, David, let me ask you about, like in terms of your employees that are working for companies, but they're not permanent employees yet. How does that situation work, like in terms of, are they considered a part-time? How does that work?
All right. First of all, they're considered under the Healthcare Reform Act what is called a variable hour employee.
Okay.
So, and that's another whole criteria that the government's still trying to establish all of the guidelines for. Variable hour can be someone who works less than 30 hours a week, and this variable hour employee will be determined. There's different look-back periods. So this employee may work for our company for 6 months and then go on to the full-time payroll of our client company. So we're still going through the process to try and determine, is this a full-time employee for us or for our client, or is it a variable hour employee? Because if you're a variable hour employee, the health care guidelines are different than if you're a full-time employee.
Yeah.
So it's still, again, we're still trying to determine exactly what those rules are.
Okay. Matt, do you have a question yet for David?
Not really a question, but we definitely have seen some of the larger companies start switching their employees to under 30 hours to try to balance that exact same thing that he's talking about, because they know that at that 30-hour mark, that's where some of the changes occur. So I think a lot more of the full-time employees are going to be moving to 1099 positions and also to under 30 hours to try to keep them out of the health insurance availability.
Yeah, I remember in the height of the Clinton administration, there was an ongoing joke about the huge amount of job creation that took place under his administration. And the joke was, yeah, I know he created a lot of jobs. I have 3 of them myself. And, and because of regulations and rules and that type of thing, business owners tried to minimize how many hours they gave as employees, because, as it goes back to what economist Thomas Sowell always said, humans aren't trees. If you attack a human with an axe, it will either fight or take flight. And that's exactly what business owners are doing. They're fighting back by changing the hours in order to comply with the regulations so they can stay a for-profit business. Talk a little bit about that, David.
Well, actually, yeah, talking about being a for-profit business, one of the items that as we're going through this process is trying to figure out we are going to have to pay as the employer to make the health care affordable. We cannot charge more than 9.5% of the household income. Well, my question, and our accounting and lawyers are working on, is how do I determine 9.5% of your household income when you're coming to work for me? What is that certification process? Does your wife work, or does your spouse work? Do your kids work? Does that contribute to your household income? So how do I know how much I've actually got to pay? Because actually, if it's as long as you pay you pay 60% of that person's health care costs, they've still got to be below the 9.5% of their total household income. How do I measure that is my question, and I haven't found an answer for it. I don't know if you guys have yet.
No, I haven't got one yet, and I bet the head of the department that's in charge of that isn't probably entirely sure.
You know what? I was actually doing some research on a national health care site that we're working with, and I think they actually broke that formula down. So I'll see if I can go back in there and find that for you so I can make sure you get a copy of that. But it said it twice. I had to reread it, and it definitely did not make sense the first time I read it. So I'll see if I can hunt it down for you. Oh,
that's good. That's good. It'd be great if you could forward it to him. David Bristol, your website, real quick, EmployeeSolutions.com, correct?
That is correct, EmployeeSolutions.com.
Thanks so much for shedding some light on this for Matt and I. EmployeeSolutions.com. Matt Sutton is with Aflac. That's AFLAC.com. And if you don't know what Aflac is, you probably don't own a TV. But Matt, thanks for joining us for our first of many segments.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. When we come back, we're going to have more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at priceofbusiness.com. Make sure you like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. You're listening to The Price of Business.